how do we frame the question for CFA? We have this question. Do the dimensions exhibit? Iba ang pag-frame ng question. This is another statistical tool. This is not the common statistical tool. Do the dimensions exhibit parsimonious fit? Okay, so this is a question. Number 1 is the question for EFA. Number 2, the question for CFA. So since all items based on the pattern matrix are actually loading, and we can see that there's no cross-loading because there are some cases that items may cross-load to 2 factors or 3 factors. That's possible. So with this is a clean pattern. There's no cross-loads. Wala kayong makitang values sa factor 1, factor 3. So this is a clean pattern. So this is a good test. Okay. So let's proceed to CFA. So in CFA, we will utilize another software. Okay. So the software that we'll be utilizing in CFA is the Amos. I know wala kayong Amos, but I will just give you a presentation on how to perform the CFA. So, teka, hintayin ko lang yung Amos. Asa naman to akong Amos? Okay, nandito na ang Amos. Right. Can you see the screen?
Yes, sir.
So this is an Amos software. This is an extension of SPSS. I'll get the data. File name. Desktop. What's my data? SPSS. Here. Okay, so click OK. I'll draw the 3 factors. Okay. Kaya namang malaki ito. Kita natin. Yan. In our first factor has 4 items. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4. Then second, next, and third. So in our second factor, there are 3 items, and third factor, there are 2 items. So 1, 2, 3, then there are 2 items. So I will utilize the software. Tagal ko na din hindi ginagamit ito. So, yeah. So I'll name the first factor accuracy. That's a trait. And name the second factor factor 2 is innovativeness. And then factor 3, interpersonal. And so I'll get the data. So in the under accuracy, there are four: in order, organized, efficient, reliable. So in order, organized, efficient, reliable. Then for the innovativeness, the items include creative, curious, independent. Okay. So creative, curious, independent. And then the last is lively and sociable. Okay. So lively, these are items that represent the dimension interpersonal, innovativeness, yan. So after which, I'll correlate the errors. Sorry. Plugins, name and observe variable. I'll do the interfactor correlation. And that interfactor correlation. Okay. Yan. Alright. Okay, kaganda-ganda ng model. So this is the model that we need to test. This is the result of exploratory factor analysis, and let's see if the model is a good fitting model. So that's how to determine whether the tool or the questionnaire is a good fit model to the kind of respondents that you wanted to study. Okay, so that is why we need to confirm whether the results of exploratory factor analysis, when it comes to the dimensions, okay, when it comes to the dimensions of traits in work characteristics, in the work characteristics, really represent the call center agents. So in order to analyze that one, still we do look at the loadings, we look at the interfactor correlation, and we also need to look at the goodness of fit of the model. How fit is the model in relation to the data that we have? Click analyze, view, analysis properties. I look at the output, standardized estimates. Okay. So analyze, calculate estimates. Sample CFA. Yan. All right. So we have here the results. So you can see, eto, you can see the result of the factor loadings. This is the beta value, standardized beta value of a regression analysis. You can see 0.62, 0.81, 0.82. It's a very strong loading. Okay, it's a strong loading of these items to the factor, and of course we can say that they are really representing the dimension. Okay, and also with the other factors, medyo mababa itong curious. Okay, it's only 0.56, but lively and sociable have higher factor loading. So in most cases, they are saying that 0.60, okay, is actually a good factor loading to represent the construct. The construct here, the latent variables, accuracy, innovativeness. We can say it's latent variable because these are variables that cannot be directly measured. Like accuracy, it can be measured by in order, organized, efficient. So hindi siya mag-represent directly. Like for example, if we want to study about intelligence, so it cannot be directly measured. So dapat meron tayo mga different IQ tests and some other tests to measure intelligence. Okay, so that is a variable, that is a latent variable. In the box, these are the observed variables. These observed variables are actually variables that can be directly measured. There are measurement on each of these variable to represent the latent variable. And this arrow, this is the interfactor correlation. So you can see that they're somewhat moderately correlated or highly correlated. So supposedly mas maganda is if they are less correlated because there could be a validity issue. Okay, so let's look at the fit goodness of fit of the model. View text output. Okay, the model fit characteristics. Okay, all right. So this is the model fit. Ay, hindi nyo nakita. Okay. Stop presenting. This is the goodness of fit measures. There are a lot of measures for the goodness of fit. Okay? So, ano ko ito palakihin? Yan. Okay. So, this is C-mean, the chi-square. This is, you can see, model fit summary. There are a lot of indices to determine goodness of fit of the model. Okay? The C-mean DF should be less than 3. Our result is 1.70. Based on C-mean DF, our model is fit. However, the P value should be above 0.05. But our result is 0.018, meaning our model, based on chi-square goodness of fit, needs modification because it should be above 0.05. That's the standard values. The GFI must be 0.95 and above. It's fit. The GFI is the goodness of fit index. The CFI, the comparative fit index, should be above 0.95. Our result is um, 0.98. It's fit. TLI, Tucker-Lewis index, should be above 0.95. So it's fit. NFI, norm fit index, should be above 0.95. So fit din siya. Let's look at the RMSEA and the P close. Okay, so RMSEA. Where's the RMSEA? Here. So the RMSEA is 0.039. It should be less than 0.05 fit. And the peak low should be above 0.05. It's 0.8. So it's above 0.05 fit. So ang problema lang dito is the chi-square goodness of fit p-value, which is 0.05. 0.01, which is less than 0.05. So we can improve the model. Actually, we can improve the model. View, analysis properties, modification indices. This particular software can actually determine things that we can modify. Text output, modification indices. We can correlate, okay? E3 and E4, we can correlate in order to improve the fit. So where's the E3 and E4 here? Okay. So I will correlate the E3 and E4 to improve the fit. Analyze, calculate estimates. View text output. Okay. So After I correlated E3 and E4 based on the suggestion of the modification index, here's the result of the goodness of fit. Okay, so the p-value is nag-improve from 0.01, it's already above 0.05, 0.057. See, so that is already fit for the chi-square goodness of fit. Cmin df is less than 3, gfi, okay, and then we have the TLI, CFI is above 0.95, RMSEA is less than 0.08, P close is above 0.05. So we can now assert that this is without any removal of items, okay? This is now a good fit model or the best fit model to the best fit model of work characteristics among call center agents. So this is CFA. Okay? So in the CFA, you interpret the factor loadings, the loads, the strengths, the beta values in the regression analysis. Okay? How much can it represent accuracy? Okay, and that will actually be the loading. And also the factor correlation and the goodness of fit. So tatlong aspect, and wala tayong pwede ma-delete because based on the fit statistics, all of these are important items to represent accuracy, innovativeness, and interpersonal relationship. And these particular factors, three factors, three dimensions of work characteristics based on EFA and the CFA. And this is a good fitting model to explain work characteristics of call center agents, Filipino call center agents. Okay? Any question about CFA? Clear ba ang CFA? What if mag-quiz ako ng EFA? Kaya nyo i-analyze ang EFA? That's a good question. If not fit, sir, mag-delete, sir. Okay. Pwede tayo mag-delete on items that are poor factor loadings. Okay? But in most cases, we can just correlate errors. Like E3 and E4, makita nyo meron siyang correlation double-headed arrow. If hindi makaya ng correlation of errors, then of course, we need to delete items that may cross-load. Because there are some items na pwede siya mag-cross-load. Kunyari, itong in order can cross-load with innovativeness or can cross-load with interpersonal. Makikita natin doon sa statistics na text output. Pag hindi fit, we can look at items having cross-loading because that is problematic. Pwede siya mag-load sa accuracy, pwede din siya mag-load sa innovativeness. So that is a problematic item. You can prioritize that one in deletion. Then after you delete that one, test again and determine if that is a good fit model. Pag ma-attain mo yung fit, then of course, mawala yung isang item na yon, and that will now be the final items. Okay, for the CFA. So that's actually a good question. And of course, deletion can happen in CFA. Nagkataon lang that our data is a clean pattern. Maganda ang data. But there are some cases, in the actual talaga na CFA, ang dami talagang deletion, especially if there are some items that are cross-loadings or poorly loading into the dimensions or into the latent variable. Or too high correlation between factors, it is a violation of validity. So you can actually remove the dimension if there are validity issue because they are measuring the same and you can just place the items in one dimension. Okay? Any other question? So kaya nyo na mag-EFA? Bigyan ko kayo ng activity sa EFA. Meron naman kayong SPSS, right? But not CFA. I'm just trying to present to you the CFA, which is the next step in tool development process. But at least in EFA, you can be able to explore the dimensions. And this is a good knowledge, especially if you cannot really find an adapted tool. Because you cannot make a self-made questionnaire without following the process. Itong EFA at saka CFA. But if you cannot find any tool available, then you have to perform this EFA and the CFA. And that will be a good knowledge in order for you to really understand that in standardization of the tool, there is a proper process, there is a proper way to standardize a tool. Okay? Any other question?
Hello, sir.
Yes, Xavier?
Ay, yung question ko, sir, applicable po din siya sa ano, sir? Yung sa just na, ano, na tawag niyan? Just na software? Or mas,
Itong ngayon, CFA?
yes, sir. Or
Hindi.
mas ano siya sa, ano, SPSS?
Hindi din ito ma-perform sa SPSS yung ginawa ninyo. Pwede siya Lisrel, Amos. Type ko ha. And R. Yan. Ito yung mga software that can analyze CFA. Hindi ko alam sa JAS kung kaya niya mag-EFA.
Kasi yung ano namin, I mean yung ano ako sa JAS, mas ano ako compared to SPSS.
Kasi yun kasi ang nasimula natin, no?
Oo.
Pero
Kasi yun, sir, mas
mas
doable siya compared sa ano
yeah,
SPSS kasi mga
I feel you on that because kung ano talaga yung nakasanayan natin, most likely yun yung mag-stick tayo doon. But of course, kung masanay ka din sa SPSS, this is also a user-friendly software. But yeah, applicable sa just ang factor analysis. EFA lang yata. Sa just kasi, tingnan ako, i-open ko yung just. Kahit ano lang kasi ako, gina-explore ko kasi lahat ng softwares. In fact, I'm utilizing R. Okay? Kasi ang R kasi, there is a you should have a programming background. You should know how to do syntaxing, coding. So, mas ma-challenge kasi ako if I am doing the coding. So, that is why R ang ginagamit ko. Pero kung nagmamadali ako, I will use just and I can use. Okay, pwede pala. Okay, so ito. Hindi ko pa kasi na-explore itong EFA at saka CFA sa just. But when I look at just, ito. Gusto mo itong just. Tara. Yan. So nakita nyo, descriptive, t-test, ANOVA, mixed model, regression, frequency, factor. So dito tayo sa factor. So ang factor ba natin? Exploratory. Click mo lang. Click mo yung items. Lagay mo sa variable. Okay, teka ha. Wait. Kunyari ito, item 1, item 10. Kunyari item 10 lang. Ano ba ito? Hindi siya Okay. Hindi mo ni maabalhin. I look at the data, bakit hindi siya ma-transfer? Export data tayo. Ganito na lang. Yung data na lang natin sa SPSS. Tingnan ko if we can CSV. Open computer desktop. Yan. Yung data. Nag-loading pa pala. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes po, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay. Okay, ganito. Nag-update kasi ang computer ko, Windows update, so I'm using the cell phone right now. Um, it will take time ng Windows update, so that is why I cannot do the presentation. But actually, the question by Sander, if we can utilize JAST for EFA and CFA, yes. We can utilize JAST and EFA and CFA. Almost the same process like the SPSS. You just have to explore it. So, what we are going to do, ang gagawin natin is, I'll give you an assignment and I want you to perform EFA. But that will be submitted next meeting na. I will post the assignment later after the Windows update of my laptop. Then at least maka-rest din kayo. Then we will be having the final exam. I think 2 more meetings left. So by next meeting we can have a review, and then after the review we can have the final examination. But anyway, our final exam is more on practical and all that we have discussed, and including the process and at the same time interpretation. For the case of EFA, I will give you a sample study utilizing EFA and how to interpret the EFA results para meron din kayong guide when it comes to the interpretation of EFA. So in your assignment, I'll give the data, I'll give the questionnaire items, and I want you to perform the exploratory factor analysis, and you have to interpret the results. I'll give you the sample. I'll post that one in our UVE. Unless there are any other questions. So Sander, if you think na gusto mo talaga yung JAS kasi madali lang, you can utilize JAS in EFA and CFA. Pero ang sa atin ngayon, since I did not let you download the CFA, yung AMOS. So, most likely mahirapan kayo. So, it's more on EFA lang tayo because that's the topic that was discussed the last week in the webinar. Okay? Any other question? So, I will post later the data that you will analyze for exploratory factor analysis. Anyway, naka-install naman kayo ng SPSS. You can follow the process based on the, anong tawag dyan. Meron naman kayong recordings the last time. I think meron sa inyo na nag-record. And at the same time, I've also performed the analysis kanina. So, in the exploratory factor analysis only, and I will not include the CFA. Okay? So, are my instructions clear?
Yes po, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, I'll see you again next Saturday. At least maka-rest muna kayo. But the submission of the assignment the deadline will be Saturday next week also. And by Saturday, I'll give you the different coverage and review of our examination. Then after the next Saturday, we will have the final examination. Okay? So that's all for today. Cannot use my laptop. I'll see you again next Saturday. Keep safe and God bless you always.
Thank you,
Thank you
sir.
so
Goodbye,
much,
sir.
sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
God
you,
bless.
sir.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, sir.